So Google just expanded the Gemini API file search tool. And this update is actually bigger than the release post makes it sound. File search is now multimodal. You can drop images into the same store as your PDFs and documents, query everything in one call, and get back grounded answers with page level.
The important part is not that Gemini can search files. The important part is that the old RAG split is starting to disappear. Before this, a serious retrieval system usually had two tracks. Text went through chunking and embeddings. Screenshots, diagrams, scan pages, and charts needed OCR, captions, or a separate vision path. Gemini file search now puts images and text into one retrieval store, then lets the model cite the page it pulled from. That changes the build decision. For a lot of teams, the first question is no longer, which vector database should we host? It is whether the managed retrieval layer is already good enough. There are three features worth separating. First, multimodal indexing, PDFs, images, charts, and plain text can be embedded into the same store. Second, metadata filters. You can tag documents by department, region, topic, modality, customer, or permission class, then narrow retrieval before the model answers. Third, page-level citations. The answer can point back to the exact page instead of waving at an entire document. None of those is magic by itself. Together, they make the managed version feel less like a demo and more like an enterprise default.
Most enterprise documents are not pure text. For example, insurance claims have photographs, engineering specs have schematics, medical reports have scans, and product catalogs usually contain images. Even a perfectly clean PDF of a research paper has figures that carry half the meaning. Now, before today, your option were extract text and lose figures, or run a separate vision pipeline and stitch results together, or pay for a multimodal embedding service and host your own vector store. None of these are.
The pipeline becomes simpler, but it does not become thought-free. The clean version is 5 steps. Upload the files. Let the service chunk the text and visual pages. Embed both modalities with Gemini embeddings. Store the vectors with useful metadata. Then call the model with the file search tool and inspect the grounding chunks. The trap is assuming this removes retrieval design. It does not. You still need naming rules, metadata discipline, deletion rules, access control, and tests for bad retrieval. The source demo even shows irrelevant chunks showing up beside the right answer. That is the point. Managed retrieval lowers the plumbing cost, but it does not. If I were wiring this into a real product, I would start with 3 rules. Use metadata from day one, even in a prototype, because retrofitting department, region, customer, and document type tags later is painful. Treat page citations as a QA surface, not just a nice user feature. If the model cites the wrong page, your retrieval is wrong even if the answer sounds right, and keep a fallback path for documents that need strict control, regulated data, custom ranking, private embeddings, or permission checks that cannot be expressed as simple filters. Gemini file search is attractive when your bottleneck is implementation speed. It is less attractive when your bottleneck is compliance or custom retrieval behavior. The strongest demos are the ones that look boring. A text question finds the right research paper pages. A revenue question retrieves a chart and reads the actual numbers. A system architecture question looks at a diagram and explains the components. That is what most internal knowledge work actually needs. Not a flashy agent, just fewer brittle extraction steps between messy documents and grounded answers. The weak spot is still recall quality. In the demo, some unrelated chunks appear in retrieval. That means production apps should log retrieved chunks, track citation usefulness, and probably apply thresholds or re-ranking before trusting the final answer. My take: this is the right default for a first enterprise RAG build, especially if your documents contain screenshots, charts, scans, or diagrams. Build the first version with managed multimodal retrieval. Prove the metadata, citations, and evaluation loop. Only move to a hand-rolled stack when you can name the exact thing the managed tool cannot do. The expensive mistake is building custom infrastructure before you know whether your real problem is retrieval, permissions, document cleanup, or users asking bad questions.